Hey, everybody, welcome to a special 400th episode edition of the Daily AI Show. It is also Valentine's Day to Happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. And Gwen kind of called this our sweetheart episode. But here's what we're doing. This is why today is special. And we've got the whole crew with us today. So excited to see six faces or five other faces on the screen here, the whole Daily AI Show crew. But you're not going to just see us today because we could talk forever about, why this show is special to us. What we wanted to do differently today is bring in people from our audience, people who are either live in our YouTube chat day in and day out, or just people who watch us on replay sometime during the day. They've been following us for a while. And when we sort of put the old call out a couple of days ago, we had just an amazing response from people who said, hey, I would love the chance to jump on the show, say hello, talk about a little bit about what I'm doing in AI. We have some fun kind of icebreaker questions just to kind of keep things moving. So we'll get to that in just a second. In just a few minutes, we're going to be bringing up our very first guest. But before we do that, I just wanted to throw it to you guys because it is our 400th episode. And I think that's worth taking just a moment to talk about. So, as we sort of look back here at 400 episodes, is there anything that stands out to you guys, whether like it was cringeworthy in the beginning and it's better now, or maybe vice versa, or any sort of feedback from you guys before we get to our guests?
I'll say that what I've seen is the progression of capabilities in AI that have, covered so incredible distance and complexity. And those people who have stayed with us for that whole time have a view that we had by going through 400 shows of what the progression has been over the last 2+ years. And so I'm really curious to see what the people are like who have been sticking with us for so long and have found great value in this show, and why. For me, it's been that long view of staying abreast daily of everything that's been happening, and so I wonder what it is that they're thinking now as they look in retrospect over the time that they've spent with us.
Definitely. Aaron, what were you going to say?
Two things. Number one, I can't believe we made it to 400 shows. That's amazing. Well done to all of you. And number two, I still haven't got used to you with hair, Brian. I'm sorry. I want you to go back to the bald again.
It's getting longer. It's getting longer for sure. I can try to push it out. It's getting there or whatever. So yeah, a little longer, and then at some point I'll shave it back off and throw everybody off. We only got like another 2-3 minutes here. Jyunmi, Beth, Karl, any thoughts as we hit 400 today?
It's nice that I've only met. Well, I'm gonna meet Andy next week, which is awesome. Yep. And I've met Brian. So the goal is to meet everybody after at least once we get to 800, the goal would be to have at least in person met everybody. I think that's all our goal.
I'm totally with Karl on that.
Gotta meet everybody.
Yeah.
In real life.
You're all coming to Australia then.
Right. Yeah. It's the middle ground, right? We actually had conversations in the back channels about this. I think geographically, we probably have to all meet Karl or Andy. I think we all need to meet at Andy's place, so we can all have a big meeting there. But I totally agree with you, Karl. I think that should be our goal. But I don't want to wait to 800. I want to do it. I want to do it by 600. Let's light the fire.
So that's like basically a year, right? I mean, 365 days, but we only do weekdays. By the way, cool stat here that I'm super proud of. We have not missed one weekday since we started. So this is episode 400, but we literally did it as fast as we possibly could. We haven't missed a Monday through Friday since the very first day we did the show. And I'm super proud of that because that's like moving mountains sometimes. And it requires 1 to 2 of us to be here. We've never had to do a show with one, although we have thought it was going to happen. We have about 1 more minute here. Beth, can you throw in your thoughts?
My main thought are woohoo, and this is it went really fast, right? I mean, and that's sort of what I say. When you do it every day, actually 400 comes much sooner than you think it would. But this has been like life-changing and really exciting to get to this place with all of you all. I don't think the beginnings are cringe, but there are many different things. We're
Yeah.
much more polite with each
We've
other.
evolved. Yeah, we've.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So when do we release our training or practice episodes?
Never.
Remember that week,
Never.
first
And
week?
by the way, it's time to bring up our first guest. Sorry, Jimmy, we don't have time to talk about that. So we're on time. We're staying on this schedule, come hell or high water today. So bringing up Beth is going to be bringing up our first guest, and it's going to be Gareth. So let's bring Gareth up. Gareth, welcome to the Daily AI Show.
Hey, how are you guys?
Very
well, thanks
good.
for having me. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Great to see you.
I was
Gareth-
I was actually looking forward to bring up when I started watching this show was when Brian had less hair.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's, believe it or not, hasn't even been a year. I only started growing it out in April, so we're only at about the 10-month mark now. And I don't know. I'm not sure where the end goal is yet. My 14-year-old would like to know, as she kind of gives me that 14-year-old look and says, I don't know if I like where we're going with this. But it's not about me, Gareth. We want to talk about you because we only have a couple minutes here. So
Yep.
Gareth, we would love to know a couple of things right off the bat if you just want to answer. Like, what are you doing in AI? Like what? And then also like kind of maybe together, what drew you to this show? What kept you at the show? And then we'll have some other fun questions for you.
Yeah. So what drew me to the show? I was this was like almost 2 years ago. I was deep diving into different podcasts I can look about AI. I was really deep diving into AI and trying to get my organization into AI. Like, how do I get them going? So following you guys on Spotify, found you guys on Spotify, and then I kind of migrated over to YouTube. And so that's kind of how I found you. So currently, I've the last two years, I've been a last decade, I've been a product manager in the financial space as well as insurance space. But my last role, I was pushing AI and finding use cases of how the company could leverage AI. And then on the outside of what I do normal day to day is I help about 100 artists, which AI and art is kind of a bad thing a lot of times. But I've actually got a Discord of about 100 muralists nationwide that I help with generating reference images for their murals. And so I do that kind of on the side as well.
That's super cool. Kind of, Beth, I feel like that's right in your alley for sure.
It's such a cool use case, right? I mean, when we talk about what people are doing with AI and how it's augmenting their abilities, we don't often talk about artists. But Gareth, that is very, very cool.
Yeah, so I've been an artist for quite a bit, and I would spend hours and hours and hours trying to find reference photos for some work that I was trying to do, and then AI came along. I started using Midjourney, and then I was like, holy cow! And I was already part of a big muralist group, and I started talking to everybody on there, and at first everybody was like, no AI, but I've got a lot of them to turn around, and so I help them with prompting and coming up with ideas for their art.
I love that.
Really quick. Sorry, I just wanted to get your initial reactions to the recent changes with the Copyright Office.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you just gotta have to flex. I'm all about, you're just gonna have to go with what's being done and then just go from there. I think most of the muralists that I'm using, they're not actually using the exact images from what they prompt or what they get from the AI. They usually cut and paste a lot of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so Beth or Jyunmi, I'm not sure who has these, but we thought when we were having these conversations, we knew they would be pretty quick. But we thought, let's do almost like I was saying at Scale, we'll do like icebreakers sometimes. And sometimes they're like either or. Would you like to have, 10 fingers as long as toes or vice versa, right? You got to pick one. But we decided to do something a little more AI-ish. So I know, Beth, you were on that. So do you have the first question for Gareth? Let's see how this goes.
I do. Gareth, ChatGPT or Perplexity?
ChatGPT.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very much ChatGPT. I've built automation bots with it. I've done, lots.
Okay. Google Home, Alexa, or Siri?
Siri. I use both. I mean, we have Google Home. My kids use it. Our Siri just turned on.
Yeah.
And then, so I use both though.
Okay. First thought, what silly or simple thing do you wish AI could do for you on your behalf?
Simple. I don't know. There's not much that AI can't do for me. I see. Like, I mean, I kind of really use it for everything, and I've gotten really good at prompting. So there's not much I figured that it can't do.
Okay.
And I have one last question before we let you go, if that's okay, because this was in the news. So, hey, we're going to do some AI news. Apple, Tim Cook did a very Sam Altman thing where he put out a post and said, something new is coming for Apple. And it was basically a circle with the Apple logo in it. What is your guess that Apple is going to release?
I don't know. I mean, they made a huge bunch of promises with the Apple Intelligence, right? And kind of the features have been very lackluster, in my opinion. They didn't live up to what their expectations were. So I'm hoping for something better on the iPhones. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm with you on that. Lower base model that has maybe the Apple Intelligence would be cool too. Okay.
Yeah.
Got to stay on our pattern, Garrett. So we're going to say goodbye to you, but you're awesome. Thank you so much for jumping on.
Thanks so much.
Kicking this off so strong for us. Let's see if everybody else behind you can follow your lead on this. But thank you so much, Gareth, for all your support of the show. Please keep coming back. We love seeing you in the comments, obviously, during the live shows. And we will definitely do this again because I know people have been asking that a lot.
Thanks.
All right. See ya. All right. Next up should be, Beth, do we have Justin available?
We do.
Justin.
Hey, can everybody hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to kick this over to Carl or Jimmy, because otherwise it's going to end up being me talking the whole show. So Jimmy, Carl, Andy, whoever wants to pick this up, and let's learn about Justin.
Yeah, Justin. So, you've been with us for a really long time. I've always loved your input. So what's your touch point with AI?
I am surprisingly, to all my friends and family, I've never been an early adopter of anything tech related. I've actually been a non-adopter. But when I first interfaced with ChatGPT way back in 2022, it was an amazing thing to be able to interact with a computer, with a program that felt very human and you could speak a natural language. That was always one of the things that held me back from getting into tech. It was always a little glitchy or buggy to figure out how you needed to find what you needed to find or access what you needed to access. And AI just really opened up an opportunity for me to ask questions in natural language and just continue to explore what I'm looking for.
So it seems that you're saying that it's kind of, you just delved into there you go, use that word into AI. Is there a particular use case that you found that has like sort of been the aha or change your life moment?
For sure, definitely self-education, learning, researching, exploring topics. It's almost like having a more educated individual that you can just run ideas or thoughts back to and get feedback. So it's been great to do for research, personal education, learning that way.
So
awesome.
When you talk about learning and education, obviously one of our questions is, so Notebook LM or old school paper?
Yes, I'm a big fan of Notebook LM. I love to take a hybrid of inputs from ChatGPT, Perplexity, other models. I love to throw them into Notebook LM and then hear that feedback and then go and explore deeper. I kind of use it as not quite a podcast, but like an educational research, personal development opportunity.
Yeah, the study guide is useful, or the briefing doc.
The briefing docs, the timelines are excellent.
Yeah, the podcast is sexy, but I don't have time to sit and listen to the whole podcast. Sometimes they're 30 minutes long, that are generated
100%,
by
yeah.
Notebook LM. But the study guide, wow, that's like compact and well presented. So I
And
find
it's
that
so
useful.
quick. I can't believe how quick it is. That maybe not the podcast aspect, but like the study guide, the timeline, the briefings, they generate so quickly and they're so detailed. And my experience with them is they're pretty accurate. I haven't found any major hallucinations in any of the information,
I
which,
agree.
as we all know, can sometimes be trouble with AI.
Yeah. Before we ask one or two quick, like sort of more fun questions, just curious, Justin, because I didn't ask Gareth this, but it's something we're curious about. You've been following the Daily AI Show for a while. Is there anything you wish we were doing that we're not currently doing?
I think you guys are doing an excellent job. I really appreciate your consistency. I have to say, a lot of other shows, they don't post all the time. It can be inconsistent. I don't really have anything for me personally. It's me personally. I'd like to hear more about what you guys are doing with prompting. I love prompt engineering. I love working with prompting. So just every few weeks, a little touch on how you're using prompting or new prompting ideas or techniques or research papers you've read or interested in. But
Yeah.
other than that,
Great.
I would say you guys are doing an excellent job for me. There's tons of different, content styles. I love that your show is not about hype. You guys aren't about the hype. You're about what people are doing with AI, specifically industry professionals and average people. I love the community here. We have a great comment section and of
Absolutely.
all types of individuals, interests, and backgrounds. And it's just enjoyable. So I can't say anything negative about it.
I appreciate that. That's very nice of you. And I do appreciate the feedback on it too. Okay. I think we have time for maybe one, maybe two quick questions. Beth, you got any?
Yes. If AI were an ice cream flavor, what would it be?
It's not my favorite flavor, but I would have to say Neapolitan, a mix of everything.
Oh, good answer.
Clever.
That
I
was
was
fast.
with you.
I'm impressed with how fast you got that, Justin. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That nailed it. Okay,
ChatGPT
one
or
more.
Perplexity?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I generally go to ChatGPT, but for research and sources, Perplexity.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, just like that, man, we're going to be on to our next thing, but you are awesome. Thank you so much for being
Thank you so much.
really supportive of the show, being so in the comments, as you mentioned. Yes. Shout out to everybody in the comments. And thank you for jumping on and doing this with us. This is just so much fun.
Appreciate it. You guys have a wonderful day.
See you, Justin.
See you,
Bye.
Justin.
Brian, that was also a great question for like everybody who's watching is the what would everyone like to see from us, like, or if there's additional something that we can do or a change or something like that. So I think that's a question for everybody watching the show.
Absolutely.
So please let us know in the comments or in chat or email us even. We definitely want to put the best show out there.
Well, I think if I know our next guest, do we have a next guest, Jen?
We do have our next guest.
And
Jen,
I
turn
think-
your camera on so that, yes, there we go. Thank you.
Jen,
Hello,
how are you, Jen?
The
Jen,
OG.
yes,
Fantastic.
that's what I was gonna say. If we were to have a designation as our first fan, I think it's you, Jen. I mean, I don't know anybody else that would fit that thing. You not only have helped us in the show, you've been in the comments since day one, and basically been a huge effort or a huge impact on that live comment section growing. So we love you, but I don't know that everybody else knows you, Jen, other than in the comments and stuff. So maybe tell us a little bit about how you came to the Daily AI Show, but also to Jyunmi's point, I did just see in your comments you do have a suggestion, something you'd like to see for the show. So I'll let you talk about that as well.
Hey, I'm Jen. It is snowing a ton right now in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I came to the Daily AI Show, and I did not let this become awareness right away, but I know Beth in real life. So I came to the Daily AI Show because Beth said, hey, I'm doing this cool new thing, and I'd love if you come check it out. And I did at first, and I was actually an AI hater, like pretty staunch, like this is not good for the world. I don't have anything good that I can see of the robots taking over. I had a really kind of like polarized view of AI. So I came because my friend was involved at first, and then I stayed because I started to learn things, and I started to see the positive applications of AI, and I started to go, oh, like I might need to change some of these opinions. And I'm particularly interested now in accessibility and how AI can help in that realm. So also, like, you come for the knowledge and you stay for the community. I feel like all of you as co-hosts are like little characters in my world now in a funny kind of way, and I really appreciate you all as people and what you do here. So yeah, community was my suggestion, having a Slack or a Discord for those of us who are in the chat so that we're able to continue some of these conversations.
Yeah, beyond the hour that we're live. Yeah, no, I think, look, you're not the first person to suggest that. I know Jyunmi and Beth have both been championing community on the sort of the back channels and our Slack channels and stuff. And honestly, we have a Slack. That's exactly what we do, is we have a community beyond the show. It's part running the show too, but it's obviously where all 6 of us have all of our other conversations, and we try to get those into the newsletters and stuff. So are you doing anything currently with AI, Jen? Like, you've been, well, obviously, yeah, you weren't into AI. Maybe you are a little bit more now after, listening to us for 400 episodes, but are you using AI as part of any of your daily tasks now?
So I'm still learning a lot of different applications. Mostly how I use AI right now is in writing and drafting. And in terms of kind of what Gareth was talking about in terms of AI and art, I was also particularly sort of resistant as someone who is a hobby writer, creative writer, professional writer. Is AI going to take these jobs? No, actually what it does, I find, is I can put my thoughts in as kind of a jumbled mess, and it comes out as soup. Like, you get like what ingredients are in my fridge, here you go, and then it's like, here's a meal for you. So it's able to help me start a draft, and by getting that draft, I find that it helps my ideas start to flow. So it's less that I'm dependent on the AI, but it's more so as a starting point. So that's where I found the most sort of regular interaction with AI for me.
I love it.
And your favorite writing tool?
Oh, it's tricky because it depends on if I'm writing creatively or for work. But usually I'll start by popping an idea into Perplexity, and then I'll go to Claude if I want to make it, with a certain tone or to fit what I need it for more. So I kind of mix and match a little bit.
Great.
Any other questions?
Jen, you get the same question as Justin. If AI were an ice cream flavor, what would it be for you?
Ooh, I think kind of chocolate mint, like sort of you either love it or you really don't.
That suits you perfectly on your journey. That's great.
And I got a quick one for you, Jen. Sassy sidekick or Zen guru? Would you rather have an AI that's your cheeky sidekick or one that dispenses wise Zen-like proverbs?
I think I could probably use wisdom and Zen more than sass. I handle sass pretty well on my own. Plus, I don't want it to get me into trouble.
Good answer.
That's a good answer. That's a good question too. I like that. And also the chocolate mint. That's awesome. Well, Jen, I'm going to ask real quick here to Beth. Yes. Okay. So I was just checking our back comments too. Okay. So Jen, we love you. You've been so instrumental, and I cannot emphasize enough. I'll speak for everybody on this real quick, that you've just been a huge part of our growing success of the show. I mean, honestly, you're the best. Love what you do in the comments, and just thank you, I think, is really what I want to say.
Thank you, all of you. This has been so much fun and really like an unexpected community that I found here. I love showing up to the chat and seeing everybody, and it's really fun to see all these folks today that we usually only see in chat and see what they're like. So great show idea. And thank you all for everything. It's been really great.
Thanks, Jen. We appreciate you.
Thanks,
okay.
Jen.
I think we are moving on, keeping mostly on schedule. I think we're 1 minute behind. That's not too bad. But up next, we have Greg. And I don't know, Carl or Andy or Jimmy, do you want to? Hey, Greg, welcome back.
Hey. Hi, guys. And ladies.
On this one?
Hey,
Greg,
thanks for let me start saying congratulations, guys. 400 is huge. It really is. And I mean, it's nice that you bring in some of the listeners and the chat guys, but it's a hat tip, especially daily. I mean, I can only think of a few things I've done 400 times in a row, but we don't need to talk about that. But congrats, good job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hey, Greg, I'd like to ask you, what your portfolio of AI is. You seem to me to be a very knowledgeable commentator in the comments, and I'm very interested in give us a précis on what it is that you do and what you're doing with AI.
Well, it's a long story. I think I got introduced to AI back in the 70s in a book called The Adolescence of P1, which was about a programmer who created a program back there that went away onto the interwebs and came back like a decade later, and it knew everything. And then Hilarity, it takes over missiles and all that, goes the Colossus route. So that was an introduction. I've been in technology since '88. I've installed Novell, SEO, helped companies go from manual to digital from day one. So this is all, it's kind of familiar to me. And the AI thing is just, it's finally the glue that pulls all these vertical silos together and smashes hierarchies. It's really, it caught my eye early on. So my what I've ended up doing here in the last couple of years is I've shifted, I've always written as a hobby. I think I got paid too, but it was not my forte or my focus. Last couple of years, it is a focus now. And jumped on Chat GPT like everyone else, but I use them all, but GPT is my core. And I know you guys did this too. There were nights like at 3 a.m, you're having a conversation with this thing that is responding on everything from quantum mechanics to how to sell a copier to all that stuff. And what did it for me is I had it interview me as though it was Johnny Carson. And it did that. And that was it. I was like, okay, we can do anything now. And
that's cool.
So, I've got a portfolio of 9 Chat GPT personas that write for me. And they've evolved in the last 2 years and stuff like that. But yeah, I really come from more of a tactical standpoint, not an academic understanding of artificial intelligence, but, and from the sales world. So Brian, this is what can it do for me today now?
Yeah.
Right. What can it do right now? Yeah. So.
Yeah, for sure. I have a, so Greg, if I'm not mistaken, you're in Florida, right? As well.
Yeah.
So I always see you're in the comments and you always say like, hello from Florida. I'm like, oh, I got another Florida peep here. But when I hear your voice, I have to be honest. It gives me like Harry Connick Jr. So are you native Florida or are you from another, did you grow up somewhere else?
Yeah, I grew up, you love this. I grew up just outside Detroit, between Ann Arbor and Detroit. So
I would not
in
have
a suburb
guessed that,
there.
Yeah.
But I lived in LA in real life, Southern California, down in Newport Beach and stuff for 11 years, North Carolina, Wisconsin for 7 years. That was a blast. And then down here, I'm just down here till April.
Yeah, you've done the extremes. Okay, you're doing the down here for half the year.
Snowbird, yep, that's me.
Yeah. Hey, listen, it's not a bad living. Even in my small town where I am, you see the fluxes of snowbird season and not snowbird season and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a blast.
What if I could ask real quick? Let me see where we are in time, just so I don't get off. No, we're good. We got about another minute here.
Okay.
What maybe drew you to the show, and then like sort of what we've been asking other people. What would you like to see us do differently or add to the show? I guess in the future.
Okay, I'll be real brief here. It was LinkedIn. I don't know how the heck I caught it. Right, so I listened to a bunch of them, but LinkedIn, and then I don't know who I talked to. I was trying to comment on LinkedIn. It says no, go to YouTube, and I jumped over to YouTube, and that's where it's been since that. So that's how I found you guys. What you could do here, this is what really attracts me. All right. I don't like formatted stages of presentations. I don't like one-sided presentations. And you don't have sponsors. Right. So I know that the content you guys come across is pretty organic, right? It's like you actually come across it trying to do whatever it is you're trying to do, as opposed to, oh, I found Perplexity, and here, let's have someone talk about Perplexity from Perplexity, right? There's none of that. So I like that. I'd say keep that up, but that's hard to do as you get more popular.
Right.
There's going to be people that want to give you money to get the time. But I think, consider this, guys. I listen to Rogan, right? The All In podcast. I don't know if you guys, long format, right? Maybe not every day. But there, as you know, there are plenty of times where you get to the top of the hour and, geez, we could have talked for 4 hours.
Yes.
Why don't we? I mean, that, because
Andy
I
told me
know.
not to. No.
I got to feed the horses. I got to get out of there.
I know.
Andy said, "Nip it in the bud." That's a more of an inside joke on that. I don't want anybody to think I'm picking on Andy, or he really says that. When we really,
I don't want the show to go past midnight for my time, so that'd be a bit of a challenge as well.
Yeah, poor Aaron.
That's all. I think you guys are doing great. Keep it up. Keep going. Don't get stuck. And I would say, I think ChatGPT is good. I'm looking forward to 5.0, but I'm telling you, Grok, that's the iceberg coming. I got this feeling. I know.
Yeah, especially if they double the data centers and stuff. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So do we see Grok do we see the next Grok by the end of the month as sort of predicted, promised, but not?
I'm done with, I don't know.
Okay, so I was gonna ask the question about what do you think Apple's gonna come up with? But here's a conspiracy theory for you. You saw that Elon retweeted Apple. So what do you think of a Grok Apple, connection? Because that would really take intelligence way beyond, right? That is the next, to me, it was like, that actually makes a lot of sense.
It does make a lot of sense. And it probably, that's why 5 is being hustled out and being talked about. I love it when you don't hear anything, right? Yeah. So we haven't heard that much about it, except for little tidbits. And now you see hearing more and more. I'd love that because I'm not a fanboy, but I like Mac and I like Apple a lot. And they haven't, I don't use it. So it's like they don't have anything to me right now. But if they merge like that, they're in a great position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Greg, we appreciate you, man. Thanks for hanging out with us. I think it seems to me from the response and stuff that this is a show that people actually would like. So don't be surprised if we reach out again at some point and have you back on, or have more listeners and followers of the show come on. So appreciate you very much, man. Thank you for always being in the comments. And like Andy said, always have really insightful things to share. Always keeping it positive. We appreciate you for that. We'll see you. Okay.
Thanks a lot, guys. All right.
Thanks,
bye-bye.
Bye.
Craig.
Okay. I think let's see. I know you got it, Beth. I believe you said he is here, right? Our next guest.
Hey.
Morgan,
what's going on?
Hey, not too much. Sorry.
Well, I know that I know what's going on the screen.
I was about to say, I know that interface.
Yeah, I should turn that off to figure that out.
Eye tracking is freaking amazing. What camera are you using?
I'm using a Z6, Nikon Z6. Yeah, the original. Yeah, I love it. I only recently just got this set up to do this, so I figured why not for this. So.
Yeah, very cool. So it looks like you also have like maybe an upgraded mic in there as well. So Morgan, welcome, by the way. I know we jumped right on into the camera, but welcome. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate you. What I thought was cool, Morgan, is like you reached out to us, and it sounds like you don't typically hear our show during this live hour. That maybe you catch us at a different time. So it was really cool to hear you through the email. And you're like, hey, I listened to you later, but I would be totally cool if I could jump on the show, and I'm a fan of the show and stuff. So really,
and I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was actually very difficult for me to be here right now because this is usually time I'm sleeping. So because I work long hours into the night, I really push myself to be here right now. But
we appreciate that so much. That is awwome.
Yeah, that is awesome. Yeah. What do you do, if you don't mind asking?
No, of course not. I've been all over the place, but currently I'm a tow truck driver. I mean, so I mean, I'm not in this world professionally, doing all this stuff, but I am in my free time, and I love it. So a lot of times when I'm driving around, I mean, I'm spending my time, I got my AirPods in, I'm listening to you guys. I'm listening to other people too. But when so I'm a new fan of the show. I discovered you guys, within the past couple of weeks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I listen to you guys every day now. And it's been a pretty cool thing to have that. Gives me a nice solid hour to just sit there and just kind of take everything in. And it gets me thinking. So
are you doing like long haul, or do you do like last mile type?
Oh, I do. We do it all. Yeah, I mean, we go out of state. I mean, we pick up around our area. We go everywhere. So I got plenty of time to listen to you guys.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm glad we are able to, I don't know, maybe make the drive a little bit better. I know for me, I always thought of this show as being a bit of a like a morning talk show, even though it's not exactly that, but that's sort of the format. but a good talk show, if it catches you, can make 45 minutes of a ride go by in a second. So
Oh, absolutely. And especially too that, you guys, I mean, are focused on this, single, I mean, just absolute technological revolution that's happening in front of us. That's captured everybody. Well, not everybody, but a lot of us.
yeah,
And I love that because I'm trying to, I'm trying to stay up to date. I'm trying to learn more. So many people in my personal life, they just have no idea what's going on, and it just kind of blows my mind.
yeah,
And even looking at actually Anthropic's that data drop that they put out recently,
from yesterday.
you
Yeah,
know, yeah, and you guys, I think you had an episode, it was it yesterday or the day before that was kind
yesterday.
of
Yeah,
focused on that. Yeah, so that was really interesting, and it kind of bummed me out though that it seems to be that kind of most of the use cases for it that are people using it again. I think it was Andy that noted that the API wasn't included on
correct.
that, so that was good to know. But aside from that, still kind of still kind of bums me out that it's mostly just like programmers and data scientists and things like that. I would like to see kind of regular people like me just understand the benefits of this technology and how they can use it for so many other things. So I'd like to see it kind of expand outward like that at some point. But
Yeah,
I think
Morgan, have any of your friends or connections or family become aware that you're interested in and getting knowledgeable about AI? And have they asked you to show them, or have you delivered anything to them that you can tell us about?
well, they know that I'm into it because I won't shut up about it. I'll tell you that. I do talk about it. I can't, nobody seems very interested in it though, which is kind of weird to me. I can't, I will go on and talk about all these things that I'm interested in. And particularly with my mother, she actually has a business that she's trying to shift towards online. And I'm going to sit down with her this weekend to show her how some of these tools can be useful to her for that. I think it'll go
Good
a
for
long
you.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm hoping that goes well. I asked her for about 2 hours of her time just to kind of sit down and explain this and to show her how much she can get out of it. I think that will be the moment that kind of clicks with her. But I mean, other than that, it's just, I'm just on my own out here learning as much as I can. I'm using it every single day on my phone and on my computer when I get home. I recently just started having O3 Mini and O3 Mini High actually create some pretty decent programs. One of which I scoured the internet for. I don't know, it was like a year ago. Couldn't find the real program that I wanted. I had it made it for me. Blows
That's
my
amazing.
mind. I mean, that's the coolest thing, man.
Wow.
That is really cool.
Took a few prompts. I'm like, hey, I got this error. I'm having this problem. Like, I don't care that doesn't get it in one shot. Like, that's fine. If I can just like sit there and talk to it and explain what I need it to do, and it does it, that's incredible. I mean, that's like magic. I mean, this is the stuff that I dreamed about as a kid. So it's the coolest thing, man. I
I
love it.
love hearing your passion for it, man. It puts a smile on my face because I think it's collectively the way we feel about it. It's like the cool thing with AI is you get to feel like a kid in a candy store,
Yeah.
and they just keep bringing new candy for you to try. You're like, this is
Yeah.
amazing. Tomorrow there's going to be a
Especially right
brand new
now,
gobble
too.
topper,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it just makes it super fun. It's like, it's going to keep changing. There's always going to be something else to talk about the very next day. And, I don't know, to your point, like how you've made it part of your life, even though it's not at the moment, maybe directly correlated to your job and what you do as a truck driver, but nonetheless, you're doing all these other cool stuff with it, which I love that. So
Yeah. Actually, one cool thing too, if you don't mind, I just want to point out
go for it real
too,
quick.
one cool thing that I did actually, where it helped me with my job, is I have never had any experience doing any of this before, with the towing and all that. I'm not a car guy. I don't know any of this stuff. So there was one point though where I was in my truck, and I've got all these switches, and I don't know what any of them do. Well, I know the main ones that I need, but there's a few of them I had no idea what they did. So I pulled up, I believe it was 4.0 on my phone with the video capabilities. I was like, hey, what does this do? And it straight up told me. So I figured out some of the controls of my truck because of that stuff. So
That is amazing.
very cool.
That's
Right?
awesome.
And
That is very cool.
Practical. That's
great.
practical application right
Yep.
there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love practical applications.
I think people sleep on that feature, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool that you shared that, because it is very, very cool to be able to do that. I've used that a few times myself and just been like shocked that it knew exactly what it was that it was looking at, even though it was vague.
It's so cool.
All right, man, we got to let you go because we got to get on to, we have a few more after you, but thank you so much, man. It's like actually really cool. Just knowing that you haven't been, you caught us a couple weeks ago, and here you are, and we're getting to hear from you and stuff like that. So please keep coming back, man. I'm glad we're in the truck with you and your earbuds for a little bit when you can. And, keep in touch, man. Keep sending out us the email and stuff. If you have updates or thoughts about the show, we'd love to hear them.
Oh, I will. And thank you so much for having me. It was an absolute pleasure. And I'm very grateful for you guys. So thank you so much. And I'm happy you guys are here doing what you're doing.
Hey, man, thanks for staying up for us. Go get some sleep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See ya.
I really like that our viewers come from all walks of life and have different touch points in AI. So please, everybody who's watching or in chat, let us know where are you coming in from. I would really love to know what the breadth of our audience really is like. Where is it? I mean, I come from a lot of tech and creative side, so that makes sense for me. But what is everybody else doing? What is their daily life, and how it interacts with AI? Okay, I'll stop talking.
Hey, we're gonna get to Cisco Saturday. The only thing I'll say to that, Jimmy, really quick. Welcome, Cisco. What I was going to say to that, Jimmy, real quick is if people like Morgan are not listening to us live and don't have the ability to put it in a chat, you're always welcome to send us an email at thedailyAIshow@gmail.com, which is exactly how Morgan reached out to us. So I know people obviously listening to us outside of this live hour, but they can always reach out to us if they want to share their thoughts and opinions. And we have people that do that all the time. We love it. We should read those. Okay. Hey, welcome. How are you?
I'm great. I unmuted. There we go. That's a good start.
So we know you as Cisco, and I actually had to ask because I got confused in the bathroom, and Beth said Cisco's here too, and I said, "Is Cisco Steven?" Because I just want to make sure we had the right person lined up to it. So I love that because you and I were talking through email, and I make the connection to it. So
no, perfect. First of all, I have to say thank you so much, as everybody else has said. I love the consistency. I love the breadth of topics that you guys bring into the show, and then just the real foundation of just respect and interchange of ideas between you guys. I really treat it as a distillation, almost if you think of a funnel, a distillation of all of these interesting touch points in AI that you guys are bringing. It's almost like a filtered process that you give to us. So I am so appreciative, so thankful for what you guys do. And to see you guys and interact with you this way, it's really making my day.
Oh, thank you so much. You're getting a lot of love, by the way, in the chat. I know you probably can't see that while you're on with us or whatever, but there's we've got the Cisco. I can't believe it's Cisco. So you're getting a lot of love in the chat, which is super awesome, and that's deserved because you are usually in the chat. We see you pop in, and you're always providing insights and your perspective. So tell us a little bit about how you either found the show, but also I'd love to just know what are you currently doing with AI?
Sure. Maybe I'll start with it's a really wacky story as far as how I came to the AI sphere. I was learning French, and I have a very shouty French teacher. He's from the UK, and it's borderline Stockholm syndrome and abusive, and that's his thing. He knows that. And so, not to get chastised, not to get berated, I kind of had this problem where I wanted to be able to take a transcript, take the audio, and interact with a multilingual transcript. So where he's giving me feedback in English and then switching to French, and just having some way to optimize that process of being able to extract out the French phrases, almost rank them in terms of their level of complexity, and practice them in time for the next meeting. And so that was kind of my initial touch point from that. And while I was trying to crack the dealing with a multimodal transcript, this is crazy, but I actually talked to a company based in Texas, and they had said that, oh, we can do that for you. That's for 10 hours of transcription time. That's $300 US. Ridiculous. That was 2.5 years ago. Wow. Now, there are all of these, multilingual diarization, transcription tools where basically it's for free. And so for me, just over that 2.5 years, seeing the cost plummet and the features expand, to me, I just thought it was so dizzying, so incredible. And so that's kind of my first touch point. And then in my, I guess the second part of the question is, part of my work, it's being able to look at large quantities of information and then being able to summarize them, being able to extract out key points. And so for me, then that love of transcripts, or at least that problem set of dealing with transcripts, I began to realize that, wow, this can accelerate my learning processes. So, YouTube is a fast, fountain of information, but imagine being able to aggregate transcripts and then being able to query those transcripts in whatever way you want. And so that's kind of what led me into prompting, where it's that iterative approach, being able to, refine, what were all of the questions asked during this seminar or during this, during that particular show, or, during a particular conference. I just want to know about this particular area, and being able to extract that out and then find points of connections or even differences between, points of large difference between ideas within a transcript, and then being able to mine within those points. That was it for me. That's kind of what got me on the path. And yeah, and then I can see Andy just dropped off, but I, like Andy, also use Notion a lot, and it's that ability to be able to, once you've aggregated information, being able to query it again, So I don't know. That's kind of how I got here. And as far as your show, there was that real thirst for, what's happening in AI? How can I optimize my prompts? How can I streamline my, my processes? And you guys became like my daily go-to for keeping abreast of everything, because it's dizzying. There's a lot of stuff happening, but having, 6, 7 experts that are also on the path of trying to comprehend, trying to understand things, it's become like a distillation. And yeah, really love your show. And I'm not like this for YouTube. I barely comment, but you guys have cracked it for me.
Oh, listen, I love all of that. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. Thank you for being in the comments and being part of the conversation. Like Jen, you've been there really, really early on. And, your comments matter. Like the fact that you do that just makes, like, we see the conversation. Sometimes we laugh at how the conversation has completely left the building for whatever we're talking about. Yeah. And you're like, now it's about, Taylor Swift or something like that. And it comes back and it weaves, and it fills our heart because we see that and we go, oh, that's amazing. That community is doing their thing. And you guys are self-regulating and helping with other people who come into the chat. And like, we just look back at that. We go, wow, look at this. Look how this community has grown on their own, really, as an offshoot of the show. And like I said, it warms our heart because I will say personally, I don't know that I necessarily saw that or had the vision for that when I first came up with the idea for the show. And then all these wonderful people jumped in with me, feet first. But it's really, really amazing. So thank you so much. I know we ran out a little bit of time to ask you other great questions, but that was awesome. And
Sure.
Please.
So sorry. If I can just make one point, as far as future ideas for the show, there's archive, whatever, where there are these, publications. And so one of the, I think Andy, you did Kolmogorov, networks and evolutionary model merge and things of that nature. Those things really also get me going. So perhaps throwing in something like that from time to time would be I would have, it's just me, but I find them really fascinating. So sorry to interject there, but
no. Listen, we love it. We love the ideas.
That's a fantastic idea, Cisco.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jyunmi. Thank you to all of you. Really appreciate what you guys do.
Thank you. What were you saying, Andy? I knew you were trying to say something right there at the end. Oh, we're not getting your audio, Andy.
Your audio is dead, Andy.
Yeah, I know, because you jumped out and you came back in. I know. Try going out and back in again, Andy. Maybe we'll catch you on it. I know Andy's traveling, so he's dealing with connection issues. All right, Cisco, we're gonna let you go so we can get our last. We have 2 more people who have been waiting on the back end, so we're gonna get to them. But thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Cisco.
Okay. I think we do have our next 2 people, right? And they're waiting. Okay, great. Let's go. Randy, how are you?
Greetings. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for hanging out in the back room. I know, it's a little tough when we have you, kind of patiently waiting, doing our best to stay as much as we can on track here. We're a little off though. It's okay, but thank you. Welcome. And I'm going to, because again, I feel like I'm talking the whole time. So let me pass it off to Jyunmi. Put you on the spot, Jyunmi, but, we'll take it from here, I guess.
Yeah. So Randy, number one, I know we've been asking most people about, how you found the show and things like that, but where is AI? What's your touchstone with AI?
Well, a couple of years ago, I'm a fund development. I'm a consultant. I help nonprofits raise money and communicate. And I went to a conference a couple of years ago, and when ChatGPT was coming out, and I was looking forward to going to a session on it, and nobody was dealing with it. So I started dealing with it myself and learning it and trying to consume the information. And then I started showing nonprofits how to use AI. Every nonprofit I know of is they have limited staff, resources, no time, trying to do 2-3 jobs at once. And I kept on introducing AI to them, and they were always amazed at it. And as the technology evolved, I started thinking about different ways of taking the information I was learning off the internet, off of YouTube, off of you guys, different things like that, and then trying to apply it just to nonprofit charities. So right now I'm using it quite a bit with nonprofit charities on grant writing. So creating a specialized GPT, loading up all their case for supports, their past grants, and then answering questions. And it saves hours and hours of time for them to write a grant and answer the questions, because it just goes from all the knowledge that it's learned. So each time I would be learning this thing, and I'd be thinking, how does this information or way of doing things apply to nonprofit charities? And every time I'd have a coffee with somebody, they would be going, no, I'm not using it. Oh, and there was just such a people not aware of it. And I did a survey I did a workshop on this, and I did a little bit of a survey trying to figure out, why aren't people learning this? Number one, it's a learning curve. Number two, they don't have time. So they just don't have time. So me trying to distill all the information, and a lot of it, when it comes out on YouTube information, it's for content creators or different, and nobody is specialized in it just for nonprofit charities. So I decided just to try to jump in, specialize it for them. In my workshop, I used Hey Jen to create a digital avatar to introduce myself. And then at the end, it says, I'm a digital avatar. I'm not really here, but I'll get the real Randy Clausen. And my thought for that in the digital avatar will explain, like for a CEO or an executive director or a fund development person to videotape to get their message out, or their case for support or fundraising. It takes a lot of time to videotape themselves and go through and edit it all. Whereas this way, they could just do it in minutes rather than hours. So how do I find ways to save time for nonprofit charities? So that's kind of my story, and I'm still doing that. And then coming across you guys was great too, because this area changes so much, and it's so hard to stay on top of it, that to have a group of people that are just talking regular language, discussing it, coming up with the news, it was content that I couldn't find anywhere else. And I was really glad I discovered you guys. And I try and listen live, or I listen at the end of the day, just because it keeps me on top of this information, and it changes so rapidly. And I'm trying to stay on top of it so I can deliver it to the nonprofit charities I work with, and try and get other organizations, and just to help build a stronger community and save these nonprofit charities time. Yeah.
I'm so glad you're in the nonprofit space, because they definitely need that help. Now, when you do help them, and you give them a use case or give them a little more AI literacy, do you see that aha moment or that oh wow moment on their faces when they're like, wait, I can save myself 20 hours a week using ChatGPT or something like that?
Sometimes I have to be careful because I've gone so deep into knowing this that I think they know it, and I got to go back to the beginning to give them use cases of getting them started to see what it can do. So sometimes I jump too far into it too quickly, and they'll get lost in it. So trying to take them through kind of a little bit of a learning curve on it. But when you're just doing a sensitive email like planned giving or estate giving, that's not an email you can easily write. You pop that into ChatGPT or one of the others, and it comes up with a nice, sensitive, thoughtful message way of doing it. And what I always tell these guys too is that it'll give you your great first draft. Don't use this as your final copy, but it's a really good first draft to get started on it, and it's going to save you time. So it takes a little bit of a while to get it, and here's the other thing that I find interesting is the learning curve on prompting and how it works. So they'll come back, well, it kind of gets me where I want. I go, if it didn't get what you want, you didn't do the right prompt and you didn't set up right. So as soon as they get it, then people just start thinking. It's almost like when Google first came out. I asked my IT guy who was working at a YMCA, how do I do this? He came down and Googled it. I go, why are you coming down to Google this? Why can't I just Google it? And it opened up my mind on, oh, I can do all this on Google. I can search things. I had to open up my mind for prompting and what AI can do. And as soon as you get past that kind of jump into that, it can do almost anything for you. Then people open up their mind. They go, oh, this is really good. Yeah.
I love that, Randy. Yeah, that's been my experience too. Is to your example is you do this training to people maybe who aren't there, and then they almost like, you nailed it. If they almost interrupt you and they go, hold on, I see the example you're giving me, but could it do this thing? And you're like, now you got it, because then it just like ripple effect through the room. And I've had a couple of those that like really do put like cheesy, but they put goosebumps on my arm, because what you're realizing in real time is like, oh, I just said it in a way that connected for them, and they're taking it from here. Like, I don't have to know all their use cases. They know their use cases, but if I can connect the dots, it's a really, really, like, I feel like that's a special moment. I think that's super cool that you're doing that with for nonprofits. And I went to look really quick. I cannot come up with the name on it. You probably are already connected with this person on LinkedIn, but there's another person doing AI and working with nonprofits. And when I make that connection, I'll send you an email and make sure it's
Kyle
that you know as well.
It's Kyle Berend. That's his
name. You. It's Kyle. See, I knew it was Kyle, and I was like, it's not Kyle Shannon. I couldn't come up with the last name. Thank you. Thank you, Carl.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And there's a void in this space too. So I'm going to Edmonton to do a conference. I'm going to Calgary to do a conference. I'm going to St. Louis to do a conference for nonprofit charities, because there's nobody doing this. And I wouldn't call myself an expert, but I am an early adopter. And my kind of area is how do I distill this information? And thanks to you guys help me do that in terms of learning this field, because it changes so rapidly. And I just want to stay on top of it. So thank you very much for doing the show. Really appreciate the time and effort you guys put into it.
Well, man, we appreciate you, and I appreciate you being in the comments when you're able to do that, and just being another amazing voice and helping that conversation keep going. And yeah, keep in touch too. Like, send us emails, let us know what you're doing and stuff. I saw Carl kind of perk up because you said Calgary, which is where Carl is based out of. So you never know. But thank you, man. And we're gonna let you go so we can get to we have one more guest, and she's been patiently waiting. So I want to bring her in. Let's get to our last guest, Gwen. Welcome, Gwen. Thank you so much I know you, by the way, I know you couldn't have done this until the last half, but also thank you for being patiently waiting and helping us wrap up this special 400th episode. Welcome to the show.
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. It's so nice to see and meet everyone.
Hi, Gwen.
So, Gwen, I don't know that I necessarily, obviously we see you in the comments when you're able to pop in and stuff. And I know your schedule had recently changed as far as like when you're able to catch it live, but I don't know if I know necessarily your AI origin story, or maybe how you're currently using it. So can you kind of give us the background?
Oh gosh. Well, when I was laid off from my last job, AI was just coming about, and I was in healthcare, and I kept thinking there's got to be an easier way to do all of this. And I took a class on LinkedIn. I forget if it was Dave Burrs, I think might have been the first, or whoever the first one was. And it got me hooked. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I like being on the cutting edge, and I like knowing new stuff that's coming out. And so that kind of got me hooked. And then I learned about MACON, the Marketing AI Institute. And I think that's where I met Karl. And I think that's where I got into the show, found out about the show and started doing that. And so healthcare absolutely needs AI. And I kept thinking they've got to use it for the data connection and all that kind of stuff. But also, I just started exploring a lot of different areas. So like I teach seniors how to use AI, and I always get, how do I use my cell phone and all that? So I've kind of eased them into that. For the city, I built a GPT to be like, I don't know what you guys are talking about, so let me put everything in there and get some high level bullet points that I can share with others, and ask some smart questions. In healthcare, there's an initiative called CalAIM, and I put that into Notebook LM, and I'm like, just tell me all about this. I don't understand it. So I've just been using it for a variety of different areas.
I love that. I love that. So you found out about the show through Karl, you said. So you and you've been in the comments for a while, right? I mean, it's been several months that okay. That's what I was saying. I was like, it hasn't been super recent. I had another question. I lost it, Gwen. Right.
Okay. Well, I got a quick question.
Jimmy.
Gwen, who are those wonderful characters you have? In the
show? So that's another thing that I've been doing. So I'm all over the place, you guys. I created a kids animated show, and many, many years ago was trying to sell it, and then got a full-time job in healthcare, which is ironic because the kids show is about healthcare. So it's about a young boy who has diabetes, and he's got these superheroes and this whole thing. So it was before superheroes had taken off. So I put them up there to remind me, get back to it. And now that we have AI, I want to figure out which programs to use so that I can just produce it or do it myself and put it out there.
Sounds like someone should check out Runway, and they're
Runway.
Fun. And they have a fantastic unlimited plan for $95 a month that you could do some experimentation. Just saying.
So would that help me? Because I've got the characters drawn out and I've got the theme song, but I don't have any of it animated beyond that. So would it help me move the characters and all that?
Yeah, there's a bunch of different features that they've added, and one particular one is frames, which helps image generation. But they have a lot of image to video tools, and so you should be able to just bring your characters in and build those out. There's also some pretty cool image to 3D tools, and that's a whole nother show. But yes, I think this is the prime opportunity to bring to life your characters.
Oh, that's awesome. I was going to say, so is that another show you're going to do?
Oh yeah. I could talk about animation and film and all that every day if we needed to.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what I always say about like I have to catch myself. Like Jimmy can do that and always has a lot. And then if I start to get on a roll about education, I know I have to pull back because I'm like, okay, this could be a whole other podcast if I wanted to go into it, because I start getting super passionate about it. So I love that you're working in healthcare and bringing AI. It's a space that I kind of feel like with AI, initially there was just pushback, and they said, well, it'll never help. It'll never work. There's HIPAA and it'll never be smarter than this. And it just seemed like initially I felt like healthcare wasn't really seeing the true potential power of it. Also, there are limitations, right, about what it can or can't do. So are there any not news, but any recent developments in AI where you've seen it like do something in healthcare and you were like, yep, that's it. That's what I'm talking about. It can do this, or that just gets you excited, I guess.
Well, I know there's a lot of little startups, and I've been involved in, being a little bit of a consultant to some of them. So there's a lot of startups that are using AI backing it. What amazes me is that, and I was at the director level, so a lot of my friends at that level and above have not adopted it yet. And that just blows my mind, because I keep showing them you know, how it can make things easier. There is a broker. Okay, I'll tell you one. There's a broker group. So when you're in Medicare, you use brokers to sell the product that has adopted AI and is trying to make it easier for a tool for the brokers to talk to their clients about which program is best for them. I wanted to go the opposite way and make it for the senior, to dummy it down for the senior and help them understand which is the best product for them.
Nice.
Based on who their provider is, what benefits they want. And the whole thing for me is just personalization. There's for the LA fires, there's a GPT I'm putting together for that. That is to make it personal for the person who's affected by it before, during, and after, as opposed to here are all the resources, you know?
Right, where they
So
have to.
for me, it's all about personalization. There are ways that they can better personalize.
I love that. Carl, I know you said you had a question.
Yeah. So Gwen, finally good to meet you. I was wondering, when you talk about healthcare, how is the I guess reception or the acceptance of AI in there? Because I know talking to healthcare professionals and administrators here in Canada, sometimes it's an uphill battle for a couple of people, and you know, just working with some doctors who are really set in their ways. How are you finding it?
There is a provider that I'm starting to work with who is AI forward. He's starting his practice. And I think you're starting to see more providers are seeing the value of having AI so they can spend more time with their patient. So from a provider perspective, I think they're starting to get there and see where transcription of, you know, their meetings and things like that. However, from say the insurance company side, because I've worked on both sides, they're slower to adapt, I think, because of security and data breaches and flow of information scares them. So they historically have been, technologically, they're so far behind anyway. So, I mean, they've just barely, they don't even have a good system to share data from the city to the county to the state. Right. So if you can imagine that, they don't have, they're barely even using Copilot in many instances. Right. So they're just technologically, they just don't like technology. They're afraid of it. And they've had so many breaches, you know, but you get to the right people and you start getting that adoption.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah. I love that. Well, Gwen, you're awesome. Thank you again for wrapping up this show for us. We appreciate you very much. And when you and I were emailing back and forth, and you're like, "Oh, I don't know if I can make it," and I was like, "Wait, hold on. If you could make it if you could be our last one, we can get you in and stuff like that." So thank you so much for agreeing to doing that and helping us wrap up this amazing show. You're really the best.
Well, I want to give a shout out to the community that you guys have built. I love everybody in there. It's so fun to have that back and forth with everyone. You guys have done an amazing job building this community and making it something that we just all understand and feel appreciated and don't feel stupid.
Well, we appreciate it very much. And again, thank you. Thank you so much, Gwen.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thanks, Gwen.
Okay. Well, I thought it might be, but number one, amazing show. Super, super fun to meet. You know, I know it's just eight listeners, eight fans of the show, but I don't know, guys, that was super fun for me. We'll definitely have to do something like this again. I know it's also our longest show, but I thought it might be. But that's okay. If it's gonna be our longest show, make it the 400th, right? So as we wrap this up, any last thoughts or anything, guys, as we say goodbye to 400 and turn the page to 401 on Monday?
Again, to reiterate what you said, yes, awesome. I am so glad the show was. We had everybody who we had. I want to talk with everybody now.
Yeah, right.
So thank you, everybody in chat. Thank you, all of our viewers. So it's a big appreciation day for me. Just learning everybody's background and those different touch points that brought them into AI. Thank you so much for the input for like what you want to see. It was very validating because some of them ideas I've had myself. So keep them coming. I don't think we will ever not want input and insights in the things that that you all want to talk about or learn about or interact or see out there and things like that. So yeah, you keep watching and we'll keep making them.
Love it. Anybody else?
Really cool to hear people's stories of how they found us and what they're taking away from us. That is so validating for us. And one of the things that we're hearing is that we're validating for you because you are the person in your community that is us. So really love hearing both of those pieces.
Absolutely. Last thoughts? Anybody else? Aaron, Carl? No? Andy, I don't know if you're working, but Andy says, love you all.
All right.
It's my
the internet cut out on you, Aaron.
Yeah.
Try again, Aaron.
He says bye. We'll have that. He's trying right at the end there. Yeah. His computer says it's too late. Go to bed, get some sleep. Bertha, Shelley. Okay, listen, we'll wrap it up. Thank you to everybody once again. Thank you to all of people. Everybody has said it, but it's the same that we'll say. This community, you guys, meaning everybody who's listening and watching, however you're doing that, in trucks or otherwise, you are what sort of make the show and make the community. And it's the feedback that we try to live up to your expectations and hopefully, go beyond them with the show. So many, many more episodes to come. But thank you for celebrating Valentine's Day with us. Thank you for celebrating show number 400, which is it's pretty amazing. I'm proud of everybody here, and this show has filled me up with love for many days to come. So thank you for that, guys. Until Monday. Bye.
Aloha.